coming in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri, films we commit to memory, crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spinoff podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds of exclusive episodes and recordings and live streams, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. We are currently live streaming to an audience of 1, the one being me, to monitor the chat, but it's on Patreon. What I'm doing is basically I'm doing live streams of the episode recordings when I can, and those are going to the free and paid members on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and sign up for either a paid or free membership, and you'll get access to the live streams and all of the, there's pizza, and all of the fun that goes along with live streams, like the 37 minutes it took for me to get it set up and ready. So anyway, in addition to that, over on Patreon, I'm still doing my long walk along reviews for the long walk, where I'm walking trails in Indianapolis and then recording my thoughts on the chapters that I listened to of the long walk. That's at Patreon. I have 5 episodes out, 2 more to go. I should be finishing that hopefully this weekend or in the early of next week. I'm also doing episode reviews of It, Welcome to Derry. You can find those on the $2, $5, and $10 tiers, as well as the $4 Stephen King tier. The $2 tiers get the audio version of that, but I'm doing video reviews of them as well for the $5 and $10 tiers. So that's an extra incentive, I guess. And then I also have immediate reaction recordings for Frankenstein and House of Dynamite and some other stuff in the works. But yeah, a bunch of stuff is over on Patreon. You can find that at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. If you don't want to mess with all of that, but you still want to support what I do here, you can always buy me a coffee with a one-time donation at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. I'm pretty sure that works because it hasn't been used yet, but we'll see. If you want to be a guinea pig and donate through there just to see if it works, I won't stop you. I will thank you, and I will not refund. So that's at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. Tonight on the show, later on in the evening, hopefully before midnight, we'll be reviewing the recent Dan Trachtenberg animated Predator anthology film. I laugh because in my notes it says predatory. Autocorrect. Anyway, Predator anthology film, Predator, Killer of Killers, in this week's secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and Indianapolis screenings before reviewing the new Dan Trachtenberg live-action Predator film, Predator Badlands, in this week's feature review. And joining me this week is my friend and IFJ colleague who can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Sam Movie Man. And, his work can be found at, MidwestFilmJournal.com. It's Sam Watermeier. Welcome back to the show, Sam. How's it going? And how was the 37 minutes I took of your life, while I tried to figure out live stream in the year of our Lord, 2025?
It was a pleasure, honestly.
Nice.
No big deal. I found it kind of amusing. I'm sure you didn't. Gotta say, love the graphics. I love that you photoshopped our heads onto predator bodies.
It's so dumb.
I loved it. I got quite a kick out of it.
Nice.
I'm happy to be here as always, and thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm happy to have you here, and I'm excited to dig into these movies with you. But before we do that and everything, as I usually do, I want to run down some of the things that you've posted that you have written over at MidwestFilmJournal.com, which has just some of the best like film writing in the world, on Earth or on Genna. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So you recently did a 4K release review of Criterion's 4K release of Altered States, which is a movie that freaked me out when I saw it when I was a teenager, because of that like ending sequence with the what happens at the end, basically the kind of body horror aspect of it a little bit. That like deeply disturbed me. And even though the star is like kind of similar to my name, I haven't revisited it. So, but you've got that. You've got a review of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, the remake, and a No Sleep October essay on the movie Found from 2012. How's it going over at Midwest Film Journal? And can you talk briefly about any of those pieces?
Yeah, so it's funny you say you saw Altered States as a teenager and that it freaked you out. I actually saw it even younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think I was in like 6th grade. So it definitely freaked me out. I was probably too young to be watching it, but in the review, I go into how it inspired me as a kid. I actually, at one point in junior high, tried to build my own isolation tank.
Oh,
like
interesting.
The one that William Hurt's character uses.
Okay.
And in the review, I also go into a movie idea I had when I was a kid, kind of inspired by Altered States.
Wow.
I'll just kind of tease that right now, so people will hopefully be enticed to read further. And the one thing I want to mention about the essay on Found is I took kind of a new route this year for No Sleep October by covering a movie that was made in Indiana.
Nice.
It was shot in Bloomington. Yep. By Indiana native Scott Shermer. And it makes some pretty cool use of Bloomington locations, like the Baker's Junction haunted train, which is kind of that's kind of a popular fall destination. It's set up like kind of any haunted theme park attraction that you can go through, kind of like a fun house. There's a few sequences in the movie using that as a set. So yeah, it was cool to write about kind of homegrown Hoosier horror. I just want to mention that.
Nice.
And then pretty soon, at the end of this week, I'll have an essay on another movie that inspired me in junior high, which was The Abyss.
Nice. I was wondering if you were going to do The Abyss for Ed Harris.
Yeah, so this month, we're in honor of his 75th birthday. We're covering highlights of Ed Harris's career, and I chose The Abyss because I've been a lifelong fan. I've loved it since I was a kid. So, stay tuned for that. And there are already a few essays out so far that you can check out as well. Sweet.
Awesome. Well, that is very cool. I am excited to go and read them. I need to read your thoughts on The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Because I had some thoughts on it. I covered it on Patreon, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I need to go I need to go watch the first one, the original. So yeah.
What's funny is I actually haven't seen the original.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously know of it and its reputation, and it seems like a movie that would be right up my alley, but I just never got around to it. So I'm curious to see it now. I enjoyed the remake. You know, it's not great by any means. It's definitely like a B movie.
Oh yeah,
kind of a corny thriller. But I had fun with it.
Nice. Yeah, I did too, and it does make me curious to watch the original. My friend Kim C from the Year of Underrated Stephen King speaks highly of it, so on her recommendation, cool. I'm going to check it out. Yeah, so that's cool. Well, you can find more of Sam's work over at MidwestFilmJournal.com, as well as the work of many very, very talented film writers over there at MidwestFilmJournal.com. And if you're watching the live stream, you can see the name of it under Sam's name on the screen. Anyway, so that is it for what the guest has done recently. Once again, I do want to mention, as I did last week, that I was a guest on Short Bites, a Stephen King podcast, talking to Jason about the short story The Ledge from Stephen King's Night Shift. And I was also a guest on our friends Andy and Logan, their Odd Trilogies podcast, talking about the Twilight of Kurosawa, his last 3 films, Rhapsody in August, Dreams, and Metadeo. So go check that out at oddtrilogies.com, and also check out Short Bites. Links to all of this stuff is in the show notes. Sam, before we get to the news and everything, do you want to hear about what's playing this week in Indianapolis?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, over at the Alamo Drafthouse, of course, as we say every week, the first and third Sunday of each month at 6 p.m., our friend Lou Harry does movie trivia. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, but it's a blast. It's so much fun. Go check it out. It's free to enter, free to play. Just go and they hand you some sheets of paper and you answer questions. It's a lot of fun. But aside from that, that's the first and third Sunday of each month at 6 p.m. They're also this weekend, on Friday, Sunday, and next Wednesday, they're showing The Godfather at Alamo Drafthouse, which is pretty cool. And on Sunday the 16th, they are showing Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. That's pretty cool. That is at Alamo Drafthouse. Check that out. And then over at the Can, starting on Sunday, November 16th, it's the start of the Noir-vember series. They're showing The Big Heats with an intro from Julia Ricci. And then on Wednesday, November 19th, for Noir-vember, they are showing The Big Sleep, with an intro by Julia Ricci. Of course, link to this is in the show notes, and I believe they still have the LGBT Film Festival running. I think maybe the time that this episode is released will be the last day of that, but go check that out at Can. Also go to cancanindy.com for more information. Yeah, and that's all I've got for what's playing in Indy this week. Any of those speak out to you or stand out to you? There you go, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see The Godfather on the big screen. I've never seen that in the theater before.
Nice.
I haven't seen either of those noir movies.
I don't think I have either. Yeah.
So those would be neat. Yeah, I might try to get to one of those.
Nice. I may as well, but don't hold me to it. But we'll see. We shall see. Okay. So do you want to get to some news before the reviews? I don't have a jingle or anything, just a nice little rhyme that I just said. Do you want to get to news before the reviews?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Well, after a drought of me basically not doing any news items because I was lazy, I've got a handful of news items to go through, and I'm excited about them because one is actually kind of pertinent to our conversation today. But I'll get to that in a bit. But the first one I want to talk about is the Mass Effect TV series that's in development for Amazon. Sam, have you ever played any of the Mass Effect games or anything?
I have the vaguest sense of what those are.
Okay. Gotcha. So Mass Effect, I would say it's probably it's up there to be one of my like all-time favorite video game like worlds. I would even go so far as to say that the Mass Effect universe is maybe my favorite, one of my favorite space sci-fi like worlds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like it's up there with all the Expanse and Star Trek, honestly.
That's high praise.
It is. Mass Effect is incredible. It's a kind of action shooter RPG game that you make choices, and those choices affect what you like, what happens in the game and in the world, which is great. So Mass Effect TV show, there's a whole trilogy and then another game that people don't really like, but the TV show is going to be happening at Amazon, and every year on November 7th, it's N7 Day in the Mass Effect universe. N7 is a kind of class of soldier or whatever in the universe. So on November 7th, they like to put little teasers and stuff. They're working on the 5th game. Who knows when that'll happen, but they did give some a little tidbit of information that this isn't going to affect your enjoyment of it or anything or interest in it, I'm sure, Sam. But basically the nugget of information we got was that the Amazon series will be telling an original story within the Mass Effect universe that actually takes place after the events of the first 3 games in the series. So the iconic trilogy, Mass Effect trilogy, is not going to be the plot of the Amazon series. And it's not going to be a retread of the Commander Shepard story, which Commander Shepard is your guy, or gal, the character you play as throughout the trilogy. So it's not going to have anything to do with that character storyline, and it's going to take place after the trilogy. And the interesting thing about that is that, like I said, you make choices in those games that affect the outcome of the games. You can romance characters, you can be a dick to other characters, you can be a rogue, you can be a hero, you can be all kinds of things. And in Mass Effect 3, like the final choice that you have to make is a choice that changes all of humanity, not to put it too lightly. So it's going to be interesting to see a Mass Effect TV series that takes place after the trilogy, because that in and of itself means that they need to land on a canonical ending for the series before that. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm excited about it because I love Mass Effect so much, and I think it is very much a ripe storyline for television. So yeah. Does that word salad make you any interest in playing it or watching it when it comes out?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, your enthusiasm has rubbed off on me.
Nice.
Yeah, I would love to. I've always wanted to get into gaming more.
Yeah.
It seems like a fun activity that I've just never really, like, I haven't really played anything beyond GoldenEye in 64, so I'm a little out of touch.
That's fair. That's fair. I remember I told you about the Arkham games, Batman Arkham Asylum, City, and Night. I mean, those games would destroy your mind. you would go nuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But speaking of going nuts or destroying minds, that's a terrible segue. The next news item that I have is for a news item that broke like 6 minutes before we started this live stream, which was like 31 minutes before we actually started the podcast. So the news that broke was that Alien Earth has been renewed for season 2, and Noah Hawley has re-upped his overall deal with FX, whatever. But Alien Earth has been renewed for season 2. I still plan on doing episode reviews of that show. I just have not started it. So this is not going to be too in-depth of a discussion about this piece of news, but it's worth mentioning that it is going to have a second season. Sam, did you watch any of Alien Earth season 1? And if not, did you see Romulus? And how do you feel about the Alien franchise at this point, at this juncture?
I did see Romulus. I enjoyed it. I started Alien Earth, and like so many shows, I just didn't keep up with it because I'm really bad at keeping up with shows.
Same.
I mean, it seemed interesting. I know that the idea of aliens on Earth has been a concept of the Alien franchise for a long time, even dating back to Alien 3. Alien 3 was actually going to be set on Earth. And fun fact, there's even a teaser trailer that presents that premise. Wow. And the teaser trailer was actually released in theaters with the tagline, on Earth, everyone can hear you scream. And so like people saw that. Mm-hmm. And then obviously that movie was not made.
Yeah.
I've always found that fascinating. That's kind of bizarre.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess my reaction is I'm just glad the Alien franchise is alive and well and still moving forward like pretty quickly. Like it seems like there hasn't been too much lag time between movies, and it's exciting to see it branch into TV.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm excited to check it out, and I'm excited that there will be more, presuming that it's good. So, yeah. The final piece of news that I have, no, the second to last, the penultimate piece of news I have is that there is a series in the works at HBO Max that is going to be a Jimmy Olsen fronted DC crime series that's going to come from the American Vandal duo who created American Vandal on Netflix. And the first season is going to be focused on the villain of Gorilla Grodd. So just from this article, titled DC Crime, the show would be presented as a true crime docuseries that would be hosted by Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo. The first season would focus on Gorilla Grodd, a DC villain best known for his battles with the Flash. I'm very excited about this, specifically because it's coming from the people that made American Vandal, which I believe Skylar Gisondo was on. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But and it's like I love that character in James Gunn's Superman. I think this is such potential for just a very fun kind of mockumentary series in the DC universe. So I'm excited about it. Sam, what do you think of this news of DC crime?
I enjoyed James Gunn's take on the Jimmy Olsen character too. I love how he made him kind of a ladies' man.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. And Yeah, this show sounds good. I'm not going to say that I'm going to watch it because I probably
Sure.
won't. I shouldn't commit to any shows. So yeah, it seems like the way I am with shows, like I'll get to something about 5 years after all the buzz around it, and I'll get hooked on it, and I'll tell people like, "Oh man, I'm loving Ozark," and they're like, "Okay, who cares? That was like 5 years ago."
Have you guys heard about this really cool show that, like, it's in the Korean War? It's called MASH. Have you seen that? It's amazing. This Alan Alda guy's going places. No, I totally get that. That was me with The Haunting of Hill House. And I still need to go and watch the rest of the Flanagan verse horror stuff, but alas, I still just rewatch stuff that I've watched before. I talked about this a couple of months ago, but I recently rewatched The Shield, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. FX, Dirty Cops, morality tale, incredibly gritty, Shakespearean in its tragedy. Loved revisiting it, loved rewatching it. And a couple of days ago, on a whim, I was like, this is for anyone who likes The Shield, on a Claudette whims, if you will, as a character's name. Anyway,
It's okay.
I started rewatching the last season of The Shield. And like, I don't do that normally. Like, I never really do that immediately after rewatching it, but I was like, I'm still want to be in that universe. And that final season is brilliant. It is like a masterpiece of television. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So are you ready for the final piece of news? And it's a somber piece of news.
Yes.
Okay. So last night, news broke that Tetsuya Nakade passed away at the age of 92. He was a legendary Japanese actor. He was in Kurosawa's Ran and Yojimbo, Kagemusha, High and Low. He was in a lot of iconic Japanese films, and he also collaborated a lot with director Masaki Kobayashi, who directed one of my favorite like non Kurosawa Japanese like samurai movies, Harakiri. I think that's a brilliant movie. I believe he also did Samurai Rebellion, which Tetsuya Nakade is also in. But yeah, so I just wanted to just take a moment to commemorate Tetsuya Nakade, and also to just say that I'm just so glad that I got a chance to see, like this year alone, I was able to see 3 of his performances on the big screen at the Can, because I saw Ron, High and Low, and Yojimbo when they did their Kurosawa retrospective. So so just to commemorate Tetsuya Nakade, rest in peace. Any thoughts on that, Sam?
I think that was a beautiful tribute. I'm not going to sully it because I haven't seen any of those films. So I will just say, well said, rest in peace.
Thank you. Okay, so that is it for news. Links to all of these news items will be in the show notes of this episode, which those show notes are also going to be available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV494. So Sam, are you ready to get into our reviews for the evening, starting with the featured review of Predator Badlands?
Yes. I just want to say real quick.
Yes.
The tagline for this movie made me think of you.
Oh God.
Because it's something like, welcome to a world of hurt. And, I think you should use that.
I I love that. I didn't even notice. I didn't even see that I think I did see that in the trailer. Cause I think I saw that in the trailer, and then I thought about saying something like in our group chat or in like to anyone. I thought about being like, oh, I can't believe that, they made a world out of me, or what, some dumb shit thing. But I didn't, but that's nice. I'm glad that you thought of me, and I can't wait for, Predator Badlands 2 when it's like prepare for a world of Watermeier.
That'll never happen. That's amazing. So yeah, I'm ready to enter a world of hurt.
Nice.
You should work that into the caption for this when you post this episode.
I should. Yeah. Also, I should also say that it would be a little bit more like probable that it would, like, I would seek out a movie that has a tagline that references surface to air missiles, and that way it would be a better, cleaner, like, oh, Sam. But I went for Watermeier for my joke, but anyway.
It's okay. It was funny. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you're still listening, we're going to go into our feature review for the evening. That is of Predator Badlands, which was released in theaters on November 7th, and it is currently playing in theaters. Of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review followed by a spoiler review. When we transition over to spoilers, I will play a clip from the trailer. Once that happens, we will be spoiling it, but that'll be a while. For those listening after the fact and the live stream and everything, check the show notes for timestamps to navigate around the spoiler section if you want to avoid it. So, the premise of Predator Badlands is a young predator outcast from his clan finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary. Director for this movie was Dan Trachtenberg, and the writer was Patrick Asen, with story by credit from Patrick Asen and Dan Trachtenberg. And the cast includes Elle Fanning, Rohinal Nayaran, Demetrius Schuster Kolomatangi, and Allison Wright. I apologize if I butchered any of those pronunciations. Sam, before we get into our thoughts on Predator Badlands, what is your relation to the Predator franchise? And also, how do you feel about what Dan Trachtenberg has done with the Predator franchise before here? Like Prey, and we'll talk about Killer of Killers, but how do you feel about the Predator renaissance that's happening?
Yeah, well, Predator was one of my all-time favorite childhood movies. It was a staple of my childhood. I watched it over and over again. I don't know about you, but I seemed to rewatch things more when I was a kid, and I kind of had like a rotation of movies, and Predator is something I would often watch on weekends, before going to bed, like kind of as a comfort movie, sort of a strange comfort movie, but, I don't know, man, something about being in the woods with Arnold. It just, it was comforting.
Oh yeah.
But I really appreciate how the franchise has evolved over the years, especially with what Dan Trachtenberg has done. I thought Prey was a pretty bold take on the Predator mythos by inserting the Predator into, a Native American story, and even, making it a foreign language film. I think there was an option for viewing it with the foreign language and subtitles, right?
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty bold. obviously we'll talk about this later, but I think Predator Killer of Killers took that one step further by showing the Predator character in different cultures and I think that's a really cool direction to take this series to, show him in different worlds with different cultures, different characters. The simple premise of him being the ultimate, killer, in any world is kind of perfect for a continuing franchise. And I think this one, Badlands, kind of takes an even bolder approach, with its tone and the way it presents the Predator as a protagonist. But I don't want to spoil that, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well said. It's funny when it comes to Prey. I was looking up I was looking up my Letterboxd review, and on Letterboxd I just put, it was fine, and I also had a link to the podcast. It was like podcast review on this episode. And I was like, oh, I must have brought it up for potpourri or something. But no, in episode 377, I did a full secondary review of the movie with Joe and Andy. And like, I don't remember, like, I could not tell, like, I'm looking at the timestamps. It looks like we went for about 40 minutes talking about Prey. I honestly don't know. I don't remember a thing. Like, completely
you just blacked out.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. I'm getting delicate in my old age, but I rated it 3 stars. I do want to revisit it for sure. But my kind of relation with the Predator franchise is I came to the first Predator pretty late. I want to say, when did I first see Predator? I mean, I want to say it was like, I was in my 20s probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was not like a formative movie for me. Yeah, I guess. Wow. Okay. So I guess this is really sad. My first time seeing Predator was December 31st, 2011. Like, my tags are home, New Year's Eve. Like,
oh man.
Like, I'm just imagining, like, I'm just at home watching it on New Year's Eve all alone. Yeah. Anyway, and then
Arnold to keep you company.
Exactly. And I can't do math, but I was an age there, 1986. I was 25 years old. In the prime of my life, watching Predator on New Year's Eve. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's a great movie. Yeah, I'm sure if you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay, I loved it. Yeah, and I've only seen it a second time years later in 2018, on September 17th, 2018. But that's a movie that I feel like could definitely become like a good, like, comfort movie for me. But I have never seen the sequel. And I saw Predators and The Predator. And I didn't like either of them all that much. And I didn't see any of the Alien versus Predator. When Prey came out, like I said, I'm basically just, it's a blank slate, remember nothing of it. So having said that, going into Predator Badlands, I was pretty, I was excited. I thought, this could be good. I like Dan Trachtenberg. We'll see what happens. And yeah, do you mind if I go into my kind of just, initial thoughts on Predator Badlands?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I really liked it. I ended up really enjoying it. I know some of our colleagues were not fans of it. and I'm putting in a motion to get them excommunicated from the IFJ. But, but it's funny. I had an interesting experience with Predator Badlands, and let me take you down a rabbit hole of my brain. Anyone who knows me knows that like my favorite thing is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. And I love it. I adore it. Check out Tower Junkies, the podcast. And yeah, I love the Dark Tower series. So for that context to make sense for what I'm about to say about Predator Badlands, in the Dark Tower series and after a couple of books, Roland Deschain is the stoic gunslinger guy in a world that has moved on, that is very inhabited with strange creatures and radiation sickness and just plight and blight and all of these different things, sorcery and everything, just very weird, strange things. And in his pursuit to get to the Dark Tower, he gets together some companions along the way, including a 20-something heroin junkie from 1980s New York and a double amputee African-American woman from the 60s with a split personality schizophrenic disorder thing, and a small child from 80s New York, and also a small what's called a billy bumbler, which is a small kind of dog-like animal that is able to speak in just one word, like parroting things, like they call him a boy, like, oh, good boy or whatever, and he says oi, and that becomes his name. He's oi. Anyway, all that's to say, as I was watching Predator Badlands, about 45 minutes into the movie, I was like, this is really working for me. This is really, like, I'm really enjoying this. And it took me a minute, but I just kind of sat there and I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm going to read what I put on Letterboxd. About 45 minutes into this, I realized there was a big reason why I was liking it so much. It's a story about a highly trained, very serious, and slightly humorless character with a singular focus, traversing a strange world that allies himself with a legless woman and a charming small creature. If you throw in a heroin junkie, a young boy, and some revolvers, then baby, you got a Dark Tower going. So it really spoke to me on that level. I do have some issues with it, as we'll get into throughout this review, of course. But overall, I thought this was a really interesting take on the Predator, world. And in addition to that, I remember in like that first teaser trailer, seeing Elle Fanning's character and seeing the Weyland-Yutani logo in her eyes and thinking like, oh, that'll be fun. It'll be fun that, there's a nice little like wink and nod to the Alien franchise, since, they're, together and everything. I did not realize how Weyland-Yutani this movie is. Like, it's not like a small Easter egg, and I really loved it. I think it melded it really well. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Can't wait to dig into it with you, Sam. What did you think of Predator Badlands?
Well, I think that comparison to the Dark Tower is great.
Thank you.
I would love to hear you ask Dan Trachtenberg about that to see if maybe the Dark Tower was an influence.
I would hope so.
That doesn't seem like that much of a stretch to me in terms of a comparison. Like, that seems pretty valid. So that's interesting. You talk about the ensemble of characters and I think what's really interesting about this movie is it's ultimately about chosen family, and kind of family dynamics. The main predator, Deck, the protagonist of the movie, comes from a pretty fucked up family that is that's just absolutely brutal and kind of hyper focused on this sort of toxic alpha masculinity. And then he meets this synthetic named Thea, played by Elle Fanning, who's kind of a gentler female presence. And then there's the alien creature Bud, who is the like sweet comic relief. And I have to admit, at first it's a little jarring to see such a sweet Predator movie.
Yeah.
Because the franchise isn't known for being like emotionally tender. I mean, the first Predator is like sort of a slasher movie in some aspects.
Oh, it's like to me, the original Predator is like, it's like this quintessential like 80s action movie with a monster killing off everyone. Like,
oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like a spiritual, in terms of Arnold movies, it's like a spiritual cousin to the Terminator. In terms of revolving around this like unstoppable killing machine. But yeah, I found it a little jarring at first to follow the Predator as a sort of empathetic protagonist. But then I really got into it. I was like, this is interesting. Like, we're about 9 movies deep in the franchise now. And I can honestly say this is a really new, refreshing take. So that was exciting to see. You know, I guess the easy criticism to make is like, well, it's sort of pandering to the like Disney crowd in terms of being kind of oddly more family friendly and like a little bit lighter, but I didn't really find, like, to me, I just found it refreshing and like kind of bold in that sense.
You know, that's interesting you say that, because I've seen that complaint levied against this movie, not necessarily overwhelmingly so, but I've seen a lot of people complaining about the Disneyification of this franchise through this movie. And I understand the criticism, and I do definitely understand where people are coming from with that. My kind of retort to that, as someone who enjoyed this movie quite a bit, is that, like you said, we're like 9 movies into this franchise. We are like deep in the trenches of this franchise, and like, say what you will about Prey, because I can't say anything because I don't remember anything about it. But the thing that I find interesting about Dan Trachtenberg taking the reins of this franchise and this world, this universe, is that he's doing some incredibly interesting things with Prey, like taking it back to like indigenous people, like early days America, whatever. And then Killer of Killers, which we'll talk about later, doing like these animated anthology bits from different eras and different characters, and then now with Badlands being about an actual like actually giving context to the Predator, the Utah, as a character, as a society, like a member of a clan. And like, I mean, granted, the backstory, the kind of military minded focus, like that kind of machismo, alpha animalistic kind of society, that's nothing really special, like, or unique by any stretch, but it's interesting because it's Predator, and it's interesting that he was able to do this somewhat family friendly Disneyfied take on Predator, while also still being able to push that PG-13 limit with some really cool set pieces, and like, I don't necessarily see it as Disneyification of Predator. I see it more of a Star Warsification, which is maybe one and the same, but like, Star Wars was always silly and kind of just, not to be taken terribly seriously.
Sure.
Hashtag don't at me, bro. But but seeing that in like the way that is, I feel like that's influenced this iteration of Predator, because it is more of that kind of ingrained silliness, like blockbuster heavy stuff, and not too contingent on I almost said on pizza, because she's right next to me. Too contingent on the things that came before it, and in doing something unique and new. So that's my clunky defense of the tone of Predator Badlands.
Yeah, and I think it has kind of a perfect built-in reason for getting you to empathize with the Predator character by making him like the runt of the clan.
Yes.
Like there's a valid reason why we empathize with this particular creature, and it is an interesting shift, and it's not something that other franchises haven't done before. I mean, obviously there's the instance of the Terminator shifting to make Arnold's character the hero, and like, this has been done before, but to go from like a completely silent monster to this fully fleshed out empathetic character, I thought was pretty bold, and so I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and
I did too. The other thing that I kind of was struck by, and this is going back to kind of video games a little bit, but did you see Eli Roth's Borderlands?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good. It's unbelievably terrible. But watching this, and like when Deck gets to Genna and we see all the creatures and all the, like, the world of it all, I thought, like, man, this, like, I feel like Dan Trachtenberg could definitely do justice to Borderlands, a proper adaptation of it, because like, he has that, like, that has that kind of vibe that we see in this movie. So that's just something, but which also makes a lot of sense, because Dan Trachtenberg, his kind of backstory, his history, like, obviously he did 10 Cloverfield Lane, and he's been kind of a rising star and in the director's chair. But previous to that, he did like video game reviews on like YouTube, and I can't remember the name of the show. Totally Rad Show. There we go. But anyway, so like, he comes from like a place where he was like making content on YouTube, which I find interesting too, that we're talking about this a couple of weeks after I talked about Shelby Oaks. And like, I was trying to think back then of like, oh, there was another like filmmaker who's similar to Chris Stuckman in that he came from an online platform and made a movie, but I can't remember who. And yeah, it was Dan Trachtenberg. I would argue Dan Trachtenberg has done a very, very fine job of that. So it's cool to see him doing something that aesthetically is very much kind of similar to some of the things that he's passionate about, and has been proven to be passionate about in the past. Yeah, I don't know. Also, he's done some kick-ass work with Black Mirror. So,
yeah, and there's a story going around about Shane Black meeting him and saying something like, he saved the Predator franchise, and Shane Black admitting that he ruined it. I don't know about that. I kind of like the Predator, but it's visible and audible, so that's all I need.
Yep. The Watermeier blurb. Stamp. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. But and for those who don't know, like Shane Black, does he have a screenwriting credit on the original?
I don't.
Or he was like a script doctor.
I would bet that that's the case, because I don't know if he has like an actual writing credit for it. Obviously he was in it. But I don't know if he has a writing credit for it. But yeah, the Predator, his movie, like, it didn't, again, that's another, like, oh man, I have no real memory of it aside from, he does not have a writing credit. Aside from like a character swallowing an important piece of intel or whatever, and then retrieving it by pooping it out like days later. Like, a lot of time has passed to presume that he has not taken a shit in all that time. So there's some like slight weirdness stuff there, but yeah, I heard that about him saying like, yeah, I ruined Predator and you saved it, so thank you, or whatever. I like that. I like that kind of sense of humor.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see where Dan Trachtenberg will take the franchise next. I think I think this was a new approach, and so I'd love to see. I think that's kind of, and I'll mention this with Killer of Killers. Never mind. We'll get to that later.
Sure. Yeah, it's really interesting to see. I'm curious if he, like, I wonder how, like, involved in Predator he is now. Like, I don't know if this is something that's like, okay, I've done 3 movies, let me move on to something else, or if he's gonna stay in this ecosystem and everything. Because like Killer of Killers was like a movie that was like kind of sneak released or whatever. It was like announced like, oh yeah, by the way, we've got an animated movie that he made, and we're gonna release that later, before Badlands. And it's like, it's wild. But anyway, I'm curious to see if he's gonna continue on. That's the thing with Killer of Killers. It does end in a way that feels like, there's opening the door for more, which I would be very much okay with. And then even this movie does leave the door open quite a bit, which we'll talk about in spoilers. But the thing that I kind of was trying to wrestle with that while watching this movie was that I was wondering when it takes place, because I, for some reason, kept thinking, like, I was so certain in that first like half hour, I was so certain that like, oh, they're gonna do that whole tried and true thing. And I feel comfortable saying this in non-spoilers because it doesn't happen. And there's a quote that I'll talk about from Dan Trachtenberg later to kind of qualify that. But the whole time I was thinking like, oh, I bet that this is all going to lead toward, it being revealed that Deck is the Predator from the first movie, and this movie is going to end with him landing on Earth or wherever, and that'll be like the closing the loop on that. And then toward the end, I was like, oh, well, wait, maybe his dad is the Predator from the first one. I was still like so focused on that. And then even throughout the movie, I kept thinking like, oh yeah, Weyland-Yutani is pretty heavily involved in this movie. And like, what if this ends with them going to LV427 or sending the distress signal to send the Nostromo to the planet to find the xenomorph and everything. So I kept thinking all that throughout the movie. And then after the movie, I read a quote from Dan Trachtenberg where he said that he made the conscious decision to set this movie well past, like, this being like far, far in the future from any of the Predator timeline, because he didn't want to step on anyone's toes, because he didn't, Predator and Alien. So it even takes place like after Alien Resurrection, and everything. So like he said that because like he didn't know what Alien Romulus was doing. He didn't know what was going on with Alien Earth. He just wanted to do a safe thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to set this way in the future, so I don't need to be pigeonholed by any of that. So he went into this movie with that, and I went into this movie thinking, oh, it's going to be a cheap thing where it's a prequel all along. So yeah.
I actually don't think it's that cheap. I actually think that's kind of a badass idea.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, to get you to empathize with this Predator and then to reveal that he's the Predator that Arnold Schwarzenegger's gonna face off with. Mm-hmm. Like, that would have been wild.
Yeah.
And it would have gotten you to view the original in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. I actually think that's kind of amazing.
Nice. Thank you.
So, yeah, so I'm geeking out about it.
I could only imagine what the internet would react to that. Like, I feel like, because I think that's, I know I was poking fun at it being kind of a silly or cheap reveal, but when movies do things like that, and that it can kind of recontextualize what happened in established movies, like even this is a weak comparison, but like Better Call Saul recontextualized that entire character, several characters, for Breaking Bad, and fortunately it did it in a gripping and incredible way. But to think like, oh, what if a Predator movie recontextualizes the original or what have you? Would that be too sacrilegious? Would that altering the viewpoint of the original movie be detrimental to it? And then there's also Star Wars prequels and everything, so that's also to consider. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad you like the idea.
Oh yeah, I would have freaked out if that was the ending. Yeah. In a good way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story of this movie, the plot line of it, and we'll talk more detail and spoilers in it, of course, but the basic plot is that Deck is a runt of a clan of Ute Jaws, which are the Predator species. And after doing like a kind of training exercise with his brother, he is nearly killed by his father for being a weakling, and he is chosen to go to a very hostile planet called Genna, where he is going to kill and bring back as a trophy the Kalisk, which is a monster on that's indigenous to that planet that even his father fears. So there's other family stuff that goes on there, but that's the gist of it. Like I kind of said or alluded to, I think it is kind of it is the first time, I believe, that we're getting like some really interesting insight and context to the Predator like universe, or that ecosystem, that society, which is a huge gamble, but also the actual plot, like it's not terribly deep or rich. It's kind of I mean, it's kind of just standard type of storytelling for that kind of thing. But I think given that it's the Predator franchise, I am more than okay with that, because I feel like that gives it this just like kind of nod to the original in terms of being like just a complete badass movie and being just so comfortable in its badassedness, and just having this be like, okay, this is like a good porting of backstory to the vibe of it, while also being kind of Disney-fied. So I don't know. What did you think of that context for the Ute Jaw?
I thought the setup of their world, their society, was really cool. I mean, it starts off with Deck's father being totally willing to kill him, his own son. Somebody get this guy a Dad of the Year cup.
Right?
But so like that's horrifying. And yeah, just this whole world that's built on showing strength at all times. Like Deck is deemed too weak to even exist in this society before he's really given much of a chance. I just think, those were really interesting stakes to start off with. And then to send him to a world that's deemed the most dangerous planet in the universe, where, this runt has to survive, and prove himself to be the ultimate killer. Like, that's a great setup, with super high stakes. And, then introducing the character of Thea, was great. I thought Elle Fanning was great in this.
100%.
It may be the best performance I've seen from her. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of her work, but she's so funny and charming, and that character Thea really took me by surprise. She plays another character, Tessa, who is like her evil sister, and she's great in that role too, but I think with Thea, she stands out more. Just like the warmth of that character, you can't help but gravitate toward her. You can totally imagine her, warming the heart of the Predator character and getting him to be a better guy, so to speak. And I just love the dynamic between them and Bud, the creature. I just that's the portion of the movie that really resonated with me the most, and where I had the most fun.
Very nice. Elle Fanning was absolutely fantastic in this movie in both roles. But her as Thea, like, there's a level of levity that she brings to it that is so, like you said, charming and warm, that it's so, I haven't really seen Elle Fanning in a lot of stuff either, but I remember like Super 8, when she was in Super 8, I was like, okay, I know that she's Dakota Fanning's sister and everything, so it's in the blood. But like seeing Super 8, I remember thinking like, oh, she's gonna be huge. She's gonna be she's gonna do some really good acting when she's older, when she's doing more like meaty roles. And here she is in a Predator movie, knocking it out of the park. Just absolutely having this kind of very fun, tongue-in-cheek performance that is playing up that that knowledge that she carries throughout the movie, but also this programmed sense of manners and personality that is in such contrast to Deck and his kind of stoic single-mindedness approach to just killing everything and trying to get his trophy and everything. It's such a good contrast, especially when you bring it into that whole found family kind of overall like theme that the movie just executes so perfectly throughout the entirety of it. Like, I was not bored at all in this movie, and it's a testament to the strength of those performances and to just the strength of the writing as well and the pacing, because we get a lot of Predator-esque, action set pieces, and some of it's some fun choreography, and there's one set piece involving limbs that we'll save for spoilers that I was just, it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. And all throughout that, it sustained my attention, which is crazy because Prey, I think, did, but I have no memory of it. I feel like here in 3 years, I'll still remember the things that I liked about Predator Badlands. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Prey. That got me thinking about sort of the tie between these two movies, which is that the world of the Predator is like kind of an extreme version of the world of the characters in Prey, because they're all about, hunting and showing strength and kind of viewing hunting as like a rite of passage. Like if you, kill something, that's like signals your transition into adulthood and maturity. And so I think it's interesting to show like, kind of the good and bad sides of that sort of society. Yeah. And, that movie's also about tension with family and I think Badlands does a nice job of contrasting Deck's relationship with his family and Thea's relationship with Tessa, and kind of how they're both thinking about departing from their kind of family paths and I just think it's and even in Killer of Killers, which we'll talk about, that movie delves into the theme of family tension.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected the Predator franchise to put so much emphasis on the idea of family and kind of choosing family. Like, that's a really interesting direction that I never expected it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of wonder, like, is Dan Trachtenberg okay? Is he going through some stuff? Like,
he's like doing Ari Aster stuff, but within the Predator universe.
Yes. A24's Predator. It is interesting to see that. And I think that kind of hammers home some of the freshness that I feel in this franchise. Because again, I don't really remember Prey all that much, but I remember the Predator fairly well. And I remember just the kind of general feel of Predators, but those movies, at least Predators for sure, felt like they were trying to stay somewhat true to the original and the vibe of the original. At least Predators was, but trying to do a different spin on it, but staying true to that. Whereas the Predator felt, it was kind of a mess, but it also felt like, trying to keep some of that aura from the original. Whereas these three movies that Dan Trachtenberg has done, has been really setting itself apart from what's been established in the franchise thus far, and I really appreciate that. I like that these feel like movies that are of statements that he's making, and not just, this is a cheap shot, not just like, if he were like, oh, I was in a movie in the 80s, maybe I should write and direct a shitty version of that, like Shane Black. So I don't know. I really appreciate that about it.
Yeah. And, it feels like he's trying to do something different. Like one of my problems with Alien Romulus, although I enjoyed it, is that it kind of felt like a fan film to me. Just in the sense that it was just sort of like recreating the original Alien. And I mean, I realize there's more to it than that, but, I guess I appreciate that, these 3 Predator movies that Trachtenberg has done, like, they're completely different from the original. And I mean, obviously Prey, like, it's still kind of a survival movie and all of that, but it takes place in such a different world within such a different culture. I don't know. I think he's taken bold swings, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. What else can we talk about in non-spoilers? The action was cool. The environment, the way that the world is kind of utilized throughout the movie is really interesting. The different things that are indigenous to the planet and how that's used against some creatures is pretty interesting, which we'll talk about in spoilers. But what'd you think of the world building? And then we can go into spoilers here soon.
I thought the planet of Guinea was visually stunning. I actually saw this in 3D.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I thought it looked incredible in 3D. And
was that like a conscious choice you made, or scheduling? Or?
It was really just the most convenient showtime of the evening, and I'm glad I went with it. It was cool. I think it has an energy that is conducive to 3D. The world looked great. The action was immersive, and I guess that's another thing I appreciate. I feel like we live in a world where so many franchises are going to TV, and I'm kind of old fashioned. I appreciate seeing a new Predator movie on the big screen in an exciting way in 3D, like Prey and Killer of Killers. This could have been a streaming release, but
right.
I'm happy it's not.
Yeah, me too. Pizza just jumped on the table. But anyway, well said. I'm glad that we're getting that we got this movie for what it is and everything. Yeah. Like you said, it could have been a streaming release, and it wasn't. And from as far as I can tell, I think it's doing well. So that's definitely nice to know. So do you want to go into spoilers for Predator Badlands?
Let's do it.
All right.
Into a world of hurt.
Yes. Let's launch those Sams into the spoiler discussion. So, okay, we are going to go into a spoiler section for Predator Badlands. I'm going to play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling it. If you want to navigate around spoilers, check the show notes for timestamps. Again, those show notes are also available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV492 or 494. Sorry. creeping ever closer to 500. So anyway, I'm going to play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling Predator Badlands.
So this is your first hunt. And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe.
All right, so spoilers on for Predator Badlands. Yeah, Sam, where do you want to start with our spoiler discussion?
Let's do the discussion of the limbs that you alluded to.
Yes. So we got a very cool sequence where Elle Fanning's character is reunited with her legs, or the legs go to her body, and we get this very fun set piece where they are just annihilating the androids, the replicants, or the what are they called in the universe? Synthetics. Yes, the synthetics. There we go. My sci-fi credit is out the window now. But yeah, we get that just really fun, cool display that is a lot of fun and enjoyable. Yeah. What did you think of it?
And visually, it's kind of hilarious too.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah.
And just the whole idea of her having to be like reunited with the lower half of her body is just funny, and it's kind of a good joke on the Alien series in general, because I think in a couple of Alien movies, the synthetic character has been cut in half. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a joking reference to that, but like Ash, and then, oh God, I'm forgetting Lance Henriksen character. Bishop. Like he was cut in half as well. So like, I don't know. It's kind of a funny takeoff on that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It also is funny because I think that because like that whole Weyland-Yutani part of it is all synthetics and everything, I feel like that is something where the movie can kind of get away with some of the harder PG-13 stuff, I think. Just because they're not real people. They ain't got no souls. But
Clutch.
Yes. But yeah, that it's something that I feel like allows them to do some really interesting and fun set pieces through that. Like there's one where the disembodied legs just snap the head off of one of them with the legs. Like it's amazing. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I also enjoyed seeing the like mech suit from Aliens.
Yep.
Tessa, is like operating this mech suit that is like the one Ripley uses at, during the climax of Aliens. And I totally geeked out at that. Like, that was really cool.
Oh, absolutely. And even with the kind of the way that she used a shoulder kind of thing that's like the weapon from Predator, on the shoulder that is also mimicked as well with Deck and the creature, the dare I say eel-like creature. So I just like that kind of like visual callback and everything. But yeah, it's a lot of it. It was really cool. Like, yeah, those kind of callbacks, those references are really fun. Yeah.
And I guess like to anticipate what some people might criticize about the movie, like, you know, her in the mech suit and with the Predator arm weapon, like, I guess you could say like, oh, this movie's just an excuse to sell toys. Whatever,
Jeez,
man.
yeah.
I want those toys.
Right. Yeah.
I will happily buy those action figures. Like, that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Same here. The kind of sense of betrayal, I guess, that comes into play with, both with Deck kind of being taken by Weyland-Yutani, in Thea being in a position to try to save him and everything, but also the betrayal of, like, it's kind of heartfelt in a way. It goes back to that kind of found family theme of the whole movie, where she feels betrayed because it's so, like, this is where I love this movie. This is where I strongly like this movie. I'll say that. Because you've got this character, Deck, who is very much singularly focused, and he just accidentally, like, gives Thea this, like, idea in her head that, like, oh yeah, Tessa's my sister. She's my family. I love Tessa. And, like, she already had those feelings, but, like, having the kind of, having like an idea of it and having like a word for it, like, yeah, I guess she is my sister. And then spending the movie getting back to her and trying to get to her, only for Tessa to show that she's not in that same programming. Like, she's not on the same wavelength, and she's kind of evil and she's a villain. It's kind of soul crushing, because throughout the movie, I was very attached to Thea, in that kind of just that fun kind of energetic personality, and to see that crushed and changed is really engaging. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and like I sort of mentioned earlier, like, it's a nice contrast with the conflict Deck is having with his own family.
Yeah.
Like, the betrayal he feels from his father, and it's like he has a similar dynamic with his father that Thea does with Tessa, in the sense that they both realize, like, their families are toxic and like fucked up. And, I think it's pretty bold that by the end of the movie, you're like cheering as Deck's father's head is bitten off.
Yes.
And like, that was such a like cathartic, like triumphant moment. And it's bitten off by a member of his new chosen family. Like, that was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also kind of talk about Bud as well. Like, the whole family aspect of this movie is really, it's the linchpin of the entire movie, because you've got you've got Bud, like, the realization that, like, oh, he's the Kalisk's son. Like, he's wanting to find, like, a father figure and everything, and finding his father. Just that kind of, the way that plays out in Deck and Thea, the way that their family units kind of act and react and everything is really interesting, and it's a good way to bind them all together into that found family thing. So I thought that was a really effective kind of twist in the plot with Bud being the Kalisk's offspring. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And like the death of the Callus, like, I don't know about you, but like it kind of crushed me. Like that
Me
was
too.
like such a tragic moment. And
Yeah.
that's another wild swing to go from this character being talked about in hushed tones as like the ultimate monster, and you're kind of scared of it for the whole movie, and by the end you're like sad to see it dying. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was quite a feat to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also thought that opening sequence also does feel very kind of Star Warsy. Like, I mean, they have lightsabers essentially. But I think that was it's cool. It looks cool. I loved all the weapons and everything. But that opening scene with that kind of training exercise and trying to get him get Deck up to task to be, you know, an actual like productive member of the family and not the runt of the litter was really good. And I think it's such a strong statement for the beginning of the movie to bring us into like, oh, this is how he gets to Genna. Having his father kill his brother is just really, really cool. It's ruthless, and it's what we expect from predators. Which also, by the way, really quick tangent. I saw a like TikTok or something, or like an Instagram picture or whatever, that was just a ticket stub from Predator Badlands, and it was apparently an adult who paid adult price, and it just said adult predator. I thought that's pretty good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ. But yeah. How did you feel about the beginning part, really, with the Utah homeworld thing?
Yeah. Well, I think it was an interesting, it provided some interesting backstory in terms of establishing their cloak as like something they earn.
Yes.
You know, for fans of the Predator franchise, I think one of the coolest aspects of the Predator is like, you know, this cloak thing, which makes them invisible. And you know, that's like such an iconic part of the franchise and like defining feature. And it's never really, I don't know if it's really been explained until now as this thing that they have to earn. And I don't know, like there's something that kind of humanizes the predators in the sense of establishing them as creatures that are under a lot of pressure to live up to their ancestors' kind of definition of their society as like the ultimate killers, you know, just figures of the of pure strength. Like showing a younger predator have to live up to that is interesting, and it's kind of a perfect tie back to the original movie, which is partly about like toxic masculinity and living up to the, you know, image of what it is to be archetypically male, and like, you know, that follows a group of soldiers who are supposed to be like the ultimate male fighters. And I don't know, I'm kind of rambling now, but
no, you're good.
yeah, but I guess all of that is to say that yes, I enjoyed the beginning.
Nice. Yeah, it's really interesting seeing that kind of the hierarchy of that world and that society and culture and everything, which is interesting to me as well, because it also kind of similar to what I was trying to say earlier about potentially like ruining or recontextualizing the original movie like a classic movie. But it's interesting that we now have, I don't believe that there is, I know that this is the first time that a predator has been like the protagonist of a movie in this franchise, but I'm assuming that it's also the first time that we've seen any hint of the predator creatures being anything other than just a animalistic monster, like instinctual animal. I mean, I guess with them having cloaking stuff, like it does kind of, it does kind of hint at, you know, an actual like, society structure and everything. But also, I don't know if it's ever, like, to my knowledge, been something that's like, oh, they have like a cloak, like a physical thing that they put on. I always thought like, oh, maybe it's, you know, just like clicking it and they're gone. So I don't know. Did this recontextualize anything? Like, did you go into this thinking like, oh yeah, you know, the predators, they're, you know, animals, they're monsters? Or did you ever think like, oh, no, they have like, they've got day jobs and chores?
Well, that's interesting what you say about the cloak, because I guess I also thought that it was like a built-in genetic defense mechanism, like you know, like a chameleon, for example.
Yeah, like a just it always felt like to me that they were like evolved into ultimate hunter creatures, apex predators.
Yeah, like this establishes that they do have kind of an advanced society with technology. I mean, I don't know. I guess they obviously have ships and stuff. So that kind of just totally like negates my point entirely.
Welcome to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Yeah, it's like we're saying, you know, oh, I always thought they were like animals and just like part of an animal world, and then we're like, oh, they have spaceships.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that this does like recontextualize them in an interesting way.
Yeah.
I guess the question is like, can they be scary again after seeing this much of them?
That's a good question. Yeah. You know, that's interesting. Well, I will have to see, because I don't know if I'm prepared to come down one way or the other on that, because I'm not sure if that's, I mean, it could kind of not ruin, it could alter the mystique of the predator monster. Yeah. One thing that I want to question or point out here is, did he ever in this movie use the heat vision thing? Because I don't remember that being used at all in this movie.
I don't remember it either. I think it may have been used very briefly. I don't remember it being used.
Interesting.
Which is odd, because that is like an iconic thing.
Like when I watched Killer of Killers afterwards, like when the first time that's used in that movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a predator thing. Because I had forgotten, because I didn't remember it from Badlands at all. So interesting.
Yeah.
Saving it for the sequel, I guess. What else do you want to talk about in spoilers for Predator Badlands? Anything that we haven't touched on yet?
I don't know. I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly.
I think so too. I will leave us on this discussion point. The Weyland-Yutani of it all. This is definitely, it is a definitely prominent thing in this movie. Like, it's like the plot revolves around Weyland-Yutani sending synthetics to Genna specifically to get the Kalisk. And it's knowing after the fact that this movie takes place like well after like all of the canonical timelines of both Alien and Predator franchises makes me think like, oh yeah, Weyland-Yutani's still on their bullshit. They're still doing their thing. Which I think is interesting, and I mean it's classic bad guy behavior and everything. But what did you think of the Weyland-Yutani of it all?
I kind of had the same thought where I was like, man, they just keep collecting monsters, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, they are just not realizing how that goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, sadly, we live in a world where people do make the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And history repeats itself, and it's maddening, and really makes me lose my faith in humanity entirely. So I thought it made sense.
Yes.
In that aspect.
Yep. Well said. That is a very good point. I definitely agree. Yeah, there was something else I was, so up until this point, granted, I haven't seen the AVP movies, but do you think that Dan Trachtenberg and the powers that be are trying to, or have any inclination to do not necessarily Alien versus Predator, but do like something that puts those two franchises more closely together, like a movie with predators and xenomorphs? Do you think that there's any room for like another try at that? Or do you think that the connections to Weyland-Yutani in this movie are just those, like, it's just fun, like, not necessarily Easter eggs, but just a fun, like, wink, to the audience?
Yeah, I did consider that. Like, is this another attempt at Alien versus Predator? Having seen those movies, like, they tried.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Alien, the first one, like, they're not unenjoyable. I think they both, especially the second one, Requiem, like, that one's really like so bad it's good.
That's what I've heard.
Like, it has some wild shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kind of makes the first one seem really tame by comparison, and like kind of boring. But yeah, because like some, obviously Requiem takes place on Earth, and like there's just some bizarre shit that happens. But I don't know if there's a way of making that concept like good again.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, for example, like, do we need to remake, I don't know, Freddy versus Jason? Like, it's just like,
no, we don't.
it's so inherently silly that, like, I don't think we need to do it again.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I guess there was Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But that was remaking something much older.
Mm-hmm. And also that also brings up a pretty good point that for my taste, I think it would be fairly interesting to meld these two franchises together in a more like concrete way going forward. But I also really don't think either franchise needs that, specifically because if they were to do an Alien versus Predator thing again, that is inherently like spectacle. That is inherently like blockbuster spectacle, like kind of just a big event thing, where what Dan Trachtenberg has proven 3 times now, he's more interested in a more kind of contemplative, approach to Predator in the Predator universe, and different characters, and exploring these different like themes and ideas, and through history and future stuff. He doesn't seem too interested in making a big spectacle movie out of the Predator franchise, and that's something that I feel is very refreshing and would not be conducive to an Alien versus Predator style meetup. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
That was a much more intelligent response to the initial question than what I said.
Thank you.
Well
I have
done.
ChatGPT open here, so just kidding, never. But yeah, any other thoughts on Predator Badlands, or should we go into ratings for Predator Badlands?
I'm ready to rate it.
Nice. All right. So we are in a world of hurt now. Sam, what did you rate Predator Badlands? And do you think it'll make any top 10 lists that you may make at the end of this calendar year of 2025?
Well, it's funny because I feel like I've been kind of gushing over it, and I don't know if my rating really matches that. I, at the moment, have rated it 3.5 out of 5 stars. The way I've been talking about it, it sounds like a 4.5 star movie. I don't know if I really even have any like specific criticisms. I guess it just, doesn't reach the level of the original for me. But I still had a blast with it. So 3.5 stars probably won't be, making my top 10, although the lead actor I might nominate for, best vocal motion capture performance.
I would co-sign that nomination because I think he did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. That even within our group for a little behind the scenes, I think we need like 3 sets of initials to get that to be an official nomination. I feel like we could make that happen.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. We'll whip those votes, and we'll get that done. Yeah. So I'm in the same boat. I rated it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Prey, I apparently I rated that 3 stars. So it's a step up from my non-memory of Prey. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing more in this universe, in this current era of it. I think it was a good job. Very solid. Won't make my top 10, won't make my honorable mentions, but is something that I could see myself revisiting at some point when I just want to throw on a fun action adventure, just crazy shit movie. So, yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. And do you want to get into a brief, non-spoiler review for our secondary review of the evening?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So before we get to our secondary review, I do want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I'm posting more and more video versions of the podcast and clips as well. That is at YouTube. If you are interested in starting a podcast of your very own, you can go to Libsyn and use promo code OBSESS. When you sign up for a new account, you'll get up to 2 months free, depending on when you sign up during the month, I think. And we'll get a commission on it as well. More details on that in the show notes of this episode. And now back to the show.
Tell me I view obsessively.
All right, and I'll go ahead and just play the clip from the trailer for Killer of Killers right now.
You You all have traveled far and miss the warmth of home. But tonight, think of only one thing. Killing the monster.
All right, and for our secondary review, we are talking Predator Killer of Killers, which is streamable on Hulu. It was released on Hulu on June 6, 2025, and also, by the way, on July 25th, 2025, there was an extended ending added to it that I'm not going to spoil here or anything, but it's an interesting ending for sure. The premise, according to IMDb, is 3 of the fiercest warriors in human history become prey to the ultimate killer of killers. Director for this movie was Dan Trachtenberg, with co-directing credit to Joshua Wasong, and writer was Micho Robert Ruter, with story by credit from Dan Trachtenberg and Micho Robert Ruter. And the cast for Killer of Killers includes Michael Biehn, Doug Cockle, Rick Gomez, Damian C. Haas, Lauren Holt, Lindsay Levanchi, and Jeff Leach. So this is an anthology movie that is animated and it tells 4 different stories that all kind of come together in some unique ways. I do want to mention really quick before we get into all of it, Damian Haas, he does the voice of Anders in this movie. He's really cool. He's in the Smosh YouTube video group people. He's one of the Smosh people, and I've watched a lot of videos of theirs, and it's very funny. So anyway, Sam, what did you think about Predator Killer of Killers, from the first scene to the final scene to everything in the credits? Every single second of this movie. What did you think of Killer of Killers?
I assume you're making fun of me because I didn't finish watching the movie.
No. I'm lightly poking fun. Not making fun, I'm poking fun. Also, I have to say, we will give that disclaimer here. Sam was not able to finish the movie, but since it's an anthology movie, I think it's okay if we talk about the segments that he did watch, and I'll share my thoughts on the rest of the movie as well. But I do find it very funny in a very like head desk kind of way that you got 45 minutes into the movie. It's a movie that's like an hour and 25 minutes. And then I wasted 37 minutes of your life setting up the live stream.
Yeah, I probably could have finished it.
I know. And then also, to add insult to injury, no one has joined the live stream at all tonight. So it's just like a perfect storm of, oh my God, like what are we even doing here?
That is really, I actually did think about that when you were setting things up. I was like, shit, I should have just finished this movie.
I wouldn't have blamed you. Yep.
I'll talk about the chapters I watched, which were the first, second, and part of the third. I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's, I think the concept of showing the Predator in different times and cultures is interesting. My complaint so far, and, it may be negated by what I watch in the future, but my only beef so far is that it does kind of feel like the Predator randomly just sort of pops up. And I guess I wish each chapter found a more organic way of incorporating him into the story. It's like almost comical in the beginning in the first chapter of how he does just kind of like appear during a confrontation.
Yeah.
But that's a minor nit to pick. I've enjoyed how this one also touches on family.
Mm-hmm.
The first chapter follows a Viking clan and shows the relationship between a mother and her father, and then later her son. The second chapter is about two brothers. And that one has been the most effective for me so far. It ends on a very poignant note, and there's a lot of tension between the two brothers. And not unlike Thea and Tessa.
Mm-hmm.
But the animation is cool. I think it has kind of like a graphic novel look and feel to it.
Yeah.
And I think the way that the movie kind of mimics uninterrupted shots, like in the Viking chapter, they go through a snowy village, and the camera follows the mother character, and it seems like one long uninterrupted shot through just absolute carnage. I thought that was interesting. It also kind of took on, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it took on like the quality of a video game, like following a character through the action. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Nice. And it's interesting you say that about it kind of looking like a video game. I believe that the animation was done through Unreal Engine, which is a graphics engine that they use to create video games. Yeah, so it definitely has that feel to it. And I'll talk about those two segments, and then I'll kind of wrap it up with my thoughts on the rest. But the first segment is called The Shield. It's the Viking families going after revenge, and then the second one is The Sword, which is a like Japanese samurai style story about two brothers. I really was taken with both of these segments, because it does, like you said, it goes into that family aspect of it, and it feels like I'm a little bit better on the kind of randomness of the predator appearing, because it feels like, especially in that first segment, it really feels like, oh, we're watching this whole story unfold. We're watching this story unfold. Like, I would be interested in this storyline if there was no predator involved at all. But suddenly it's like, oh, suddenly a predator appears, and it's like, oh, now it's just escalated a little bit. Like, it's not necessarily that the predators are interrupting these storylines, but it's like they're an addendum to those storylines, and they're kind of furthering the kind of narrative story that's being told. And I in putting like the button on each one, I think that's a really interesting way to approach this anthology format in the Predator universe. And I really like the animation style as well. I saw some complaints online about like the animation looking weird or not really being a fan of that type of animation. I thought it looked gorgeous, like so much so that I'm going to check and see if we've nominated it. Cause I'm going to throw some initials at it, after we record, but I was really taken with it. I thought it was really, really cool. Yeah.
That's a great, like counter argument about the way the predator shows up. I hadn't really considered that, so that's a good point.
Yeah, to be fair, it is pretty random. It definitely is random. And it feels like, I think coming off of having seen Badlands, where we get like the context of why Deck is going to Genna and everything, having it be like, oh, we're seeing predators go to Earth and, fuck around. It just feels like a little bit hollow. I wonder if I would have, if these would be similar complaints or issues had either of us seen it before Badlands. I don't know. But, so those two segments are really good. I will say there are two other segments. I'll be as vague as possible. So Sam, I won't sully your viewing of them. But the third one, The Bullet, which I know you saw a portion of, it takes place in the 40s. In World War II, there's a lot of aerial like dogfights and fighter pilot stuff. This was the weakest segment for me. In terms of the story, I thought it was good. I thought it was solid, decently so at least. But there was just something that I feel was missing. It felt more like a cartoon than the others. And I mean that as somewhat of a dig at it. Like, I know that obviously, like in the first two segments, it's embellished. Like, the action is embellished. It's a monster on like fighting samurai. Like, it's monsters fighting Vikings and everything. Like, it's embellished. It's weird, but like, there's something to The Bullet, the third segment, that it's a fighter pilot story, where I just felt like, okay, this is stretching my suspension of disbelief in this monster movie, that like this kid is like hanging on the wing of a plane to try to kick an engine off so that it doesn't explode. And it's like, okay, it's like a little too big. It's too much. And that just kind of bugged me a little bit. Plus it's the only segment that doesn't really have like that conventional, Predator / Utah, style of predation. Like, it's an aerial dogfight, for the most part. And that just kind of I don't know. It was just okay. Yeah. And would you like me to talk about the final segment, the battle?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, the battle was pretty cool. I'm not going to say much about it, but I will say that it is a very good way to wrap things up and tie things together. And I will say that it definitely, I wish that I would have watched this when it came out, because it kind of, in an interesting way, lays a little bit of the groundwork for the backstory of the Utah and the backstory of the Predators and everything, and the society, the culture of it. It lays that groundwork in an interesting way that I think would have enhanced my viewing of Badlands, going into it, because I would already be kind of primed for like, oh, we're going to get some backstory. We're going to get some interesting stuff about this monster. So it was really cool. So yeah. Yeah.
And we don't have to spend too long on this, but I think this movie kind of begs the question. It might be a fun exercise. What are some other like eras or cultures that you would like to see the Predator in?
Oh man, that is such a great question. I would love. Oh man, okay. I would love to see. I would love to see. Okay. There's a few. So this isn't like factual or anything, obviously, but like I would love, as is usually the case with these kind of hypotheticals, I would love to see the Predator just lay waste to like a zombie apocalypse.
Nice.
I think that would be pretty awesome. Just carnage all over the place. to the point where the predator would probably be bored because they're not like able to actually hunt, because it's just like, oh, they don't give a shit. There's no fear for the zombies. But I, in a more serious way, eras, I would love to see, this isn't necessarily an era, but like I would love to see a predator going after people in like a wintry wilderness, like a snowstorm, like the Hateful Eight style, like blizzard.
Cool.
I think that would be really interesting, especially with the cloak and everything. Also, I mean, if Predator can stop at Hogwarts, would be pretty cool. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, this movie already gave me the one that my number one thing, which would be feudal Japan and samurai.
Oh, yeah.
Like that would be my choice. But this delivered that in a satisfying way. So how about you?
I think like imagine American Graffiti, but with a predator.
Okay.
Like a night
I love
in
that.
the 60s among teenagers. It would be like a teen slasher movie set in the 60s with a predator. I think that would be cool.
I love that.
I don't know, maybe like an Iraq war drama with a predator.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah. Yep. Like a Saving Private Ryan style thing would be neat.
Those are just the ones that spring to mind. I'm trying to think of other. I don't know if there's much to this, but like maybe a predator like in a prison.
Interesting. Huh.
Like obviously it would just kind of like lurk around the prison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would really work.
I don't know either, but presuming the inmates, there being several inmates of a certain proclivity, the title could be Predator of Predators.
I don't know. Something about that setting I think is like interesting. Like
Yeah.
the predator, like, you know, outside in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Like cloaked.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be an interesting like image.
That would be, honestly, that would be pretty interesting to see like a story where like a predator crashes in the yard of a prison and you've got the guards trying to subdue it, and then a lot of the inmates trying to seize that opportunity to break out or to fight back, like causing a big riot. I mean, just in general, that would be kind of the chaos would be pretty badass.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go with those.
Nice. There's no million years, no chance of this, but like just hypothetically, how funny would it be if we're in the theater February 27th, 2026. We're seeing Sidney Prescott running around being chased by Ghostface. We're seeing like all of these people get just hacked to pieces and gutted and everything. And then in the third act, when the mask comes off, it's just a predator.
That would be kind of hilarious.
It would be like, yeah.
It's kind of that would be like the opposite of a Scooby-Doo ending.
Yes.
Where like, it's not a monster, it's Old Man Williker or whatever. But it would actually be a monster. Like that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I don't know if we have really anything else to say about about this movie that you saw half of and I saw the full of.
Nice burn.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome. So again, just to reiterate, ethically, we're okay because it's an anthology movie and you spoke about the 2 segments that you saw. So we are still above board here at the Obsessive Viewer podcast. That'll do it for our review of Predator, Killer of Killers. Sam's Letterboxd rating is pending, but go follow him on Letterboxd, that's Sam Movie Man, and find out what he rated Killer of Killers, as I assume that he's going to finish it.
I will.
Good. And for me, I rated it 3.5 stars, I believe. So I would say it's probably on par, a little bit less than Badlands, but really interesting stuff that Dan Trachtenberg is doing in this Predator universe. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I feel like this might be the first time that the Obsessive Viewer has reviewed 2 movies from the same filmmaker in the same episode as a feature and secondary review that are both 2025 releases. Or, well, obviously 2025 releases, but year of release. But I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, interesting. But before we go, Sam, we're not going to do a potpourri section because I have not eaten and I'm hungry. But before we go, where can people find you online? What do you got coming down the pike at Midwest Film Journal? Share your socials.
Yeah, so this Friday I'll have an essay on The Abyss, and you can check out other Ed Harris essays at midwestfilmjournal.com. You can find me on Letterboxd at Sam Movie Man. I'm on Instagram. I occasionally post movie-related stuff there. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Nice. And links to all of Sam's stuff will be in the show notes of this episode. Once again, that's at obsessiveviewer.com/OV494. And that's it for this week's episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Sam, thank you so much for joining me, and can't wait to have you back on. It's always a blast talking to you. And as always, thank you so much for listening and for watching the live stream. All like the one obsessive viewer. Okay. Yeah, that's me. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow the show on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also check out Obsessive Viewer Podcast's other shows. Tower Junkies, a Stephen King podcast hosted by Tiny and myself. We're about to start reviewing it. Welcome to Derry, me and Tiny, 2 episodes at a time. That is going to be coming down on Tower Junkies soon. And also check out Anthology, the dormant Twilight Zone and classic sci-fi podcast hosted by me that I will be bringing back at some point. I promise. At some point. Next week on the show, the plan is for me to review Keeper, the new Oz Perkins movie, and the secondary review will, I think, be Good Boy, which is going to be on Shudder this week, I believe. But that's next week. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. And now, enjoy this short clip from a recent Patreon-exclusive episode. For the full episode and more Patreon-exclusive content, sign up at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Oh my god. And then it just gets more and more chilling and unsettling because Maddie is getting more and more uncomfortable. He tries to ask them to pull over and everything, but as they're chanting, they're spelling out over and over again because that's the word that the boy had at one point. And as that's going, by the way, up until then, they were also spelling kidnapping and strangulation and a bunch of different very tense words. But from there as they're all chanting in unison, out, 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 out. Thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. This episode was produced and edited by me, Matt Hurt. If you have feedback, thoughts on our episodes, or just want to connect, you can email me at matt@obsessiveviewer.com. For more information on this show, including a full archive of our episodes and show notes, visit obsessiveviewer.com. And if you enjoyed the show, please give us a follow on social media and subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice so you never miss an episode. Also, consider rating and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Audible to help increase our visibility and grow our community. If you want to support the show and get early access to new episodes, as well as a steady stream of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. For information on more podcasts presented by obsessiveviewer.com, visit obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts. Our theme song is A Little Mad Sometimes by As Good As It Gets. For more of their music, check them out on Spotify and at asgoodasitgetsmusic.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn. Check out the show notes for your promo code to get started podcasting today.